Oh, baby, Gamecock fans, it's time to crank out those rally towels because your South Carolina Gamecocks have just hired Shane Beamer as our new head coach. A new era of Gamecock football is upon us. I would go out and play Sandstorm right now, but YouTube would copyright me and I get a copyright strike, so I'm not going to do that. You could just play it in your head right now because it is a good time down in Columbia, South Carolina, out in California, over in West Virginia, or up in Canada like where I am right now, or wherever you are coming from. If you are a Gamecocks fan, it's a good day. Go in my store right now and get our Beamer 2021 Make Carolina Great Again shirts right now. We got them in shirts, we got them in hoodies, we got them in sweatshirts. Go get yours right now because I'm telling you, the shirts are only $15, great quality, great price. Hoodies are only $30, great quality, great price. And sweatshirts are only $25. In various colors. We got lots of options. You got to go walking around Columbia or wherever it is, repping your new head ball coach because he is going to make Carolina great again. Go hit that notification up there that says click here to buy our merch here, or visit the link in our description right now to go get your shirt. I lowered the prices because I'd rather sell much more of these shirts than make a profit off of them. I'm doing a favor for you Gamecock fans, so let's go out and celebrate our new head ball coach. Beamer 2021, Make Carolina Great Again. Go get those shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, or whatever it is for you right now, your family, your friends, or anyone you know. Just share the love. Share the love. So let's get into this new hire of the Gamecocks hiring Shane Beamer as our new head ball coach. I just want to crank out something for you guys here. You saw the rally towel that I was using before. I'll drop my computer screen. Just bump the camera. Whoops. So look at this rally towel right here. I got this, I think it was October 17th, 2015. Yeah, I got a crazy memory. If any of you Gamecock fans remember who we played and where that game and what's significant about it, that was 2015 against Vanderbilt, our only SEC win that whole season. That season we went 3-9. Our only SEC win was at home versus Vanderbilt. That was homecoming. That was after all the floods and everything. Great game. It was good to see the Gamecocks win. But who was not on the sidelines for the Gamecocks in that game? That was head ball coach Steve Spurrier, because the game before was the game where he decided to retire. This was his first game not on the sidelines for South Carolina in a long time. Sean Elliott was the acting head coach at that time. I bought this outside of Williams-Brice Stadium. It's a rally towel, of course. You know what it says. Thank you, head ball coach. Let me just read you out some of the things that it says on here. Winningest coach in South Carolina history. 3 straight 11-win seasons. 18 consecutive home wins. 4 straight bowl victories, 3 consecutive top 10 finishes, and there's another big one missing on here. Back to back to back to back to back. 5 wins against Clemson in a row for your guy, Steve Spurrier. Obviously, the greatest Gamecocks coach of all time, but we have a new era of Gamecock football, and Shane Beamer has a chance to come in and make his own one of these, his own rally towel, because I guarantee you they are not making Will Muschamp's one of these outside of Williams-Brice Stadium, unless they got some ones that say like Fire Muschamp from before. Will Muschamp's a great guy and all. I have no disrespect to him or anything personally. Football-wise, we all know the storyline. We don't need to go into it. I already made a video on that. But Shane Beamer has a chance to make one of these and so much more at South Carolina, and I cannot be more excited about that. So let's get into this hire and why I really like this one. Overall, I just want to go at this, put out a disclaimer. Whoever we hired, I was going to be excited for. I'm not the kind of guy who's going to go out there and moan and complain and all that kind of stuff if we hired a guy that, let's say, I didn't like. I really liked any coach in this scenario. I like the idea of just getting a new culture change, a new excitement to this fan base, a new excitement to the locker room, and a fresh start. I just want a fresh start as a Gamecock. So no matter who we brought in, whether that was Shane Beamer, whether that was Billy Napier, whether that was Hugh Freeze, whether that was like Joe Brady, whether that was Steve Sarkisian, whether it was Jamie Chadwell, any of these guys, I was going to be happy with. No matter who. You could give me a Pop Warner head coach for all I care. I still would have been happy. Honestly, I just wanted a fresh start. But I really like the Beamer hire, and I'm going to go into why I like that. And first, I just got to go into a bit of his coaching career. Now, I do got to make a bit of a confession to Gamecock fans. I am from Canada. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that I am Canadian. I didn't really start watching Gamecock. I didn't become a Gamecocks fan until 2012 because that's when my family started to travel down to South Carolina, and that's when I first learned about the team and everything and really started to get into it. And ever since then, I've been a super fan. I consider myself the biggest fan in the world. I know a bunch of you will argue with that. Love to hear it in the comments because we have the best fan base in all of college football, no question about it. So I'd love to hear from you guys about that. So I know he was at South Carolina prior. I know he did some things here. Even if I was a Gamecock fan back then, I would have been like 6 or 7 or like 5. I wouldn't be able to come up here and tell you, even if I was that old, I wouldn't be able to come up here and tell you just off of straight of my mind who Shane Beamer was and why he was so great as a Gamecock. I would have been 5 years old. I'm only 17 now. I'm still a young buck. Give me some slack. I had to go through and do some research on this one. So let's get into Shane Beamer's history at coaching. He was a grad assistant at Georgia Tech and Tennessee. He helped out with wide receivers and quarterbacks at some of those schools. Then he went to Mississippi State where he got his first real coaching job as a cornerbacks coach, and he was also the recruiting coordinator. That was from 2004 to 2006. At South Carolina, he was here from 2007 to 2010. He was our special teams coordinator, outside linebackers coach, and recruiting coordinator at one point. And he was also our cornerback coach at one point. That was from 2007 to 2010. During his time as a recruiting coordinator, he put together 3 top 25 classes in South Carolina. Now, one thing that I want to mention here, you might say, well, Noah, did Will Muschamp not just put up like 3 top 25 recruiting classes too? Like, we were in the top 25. We had 2 great classes just come in. We had a class with Pickens, Helinski, and a bunch of other guys that were really good. Then after that, we had Marshawn Lloyd, Luke Doty, Jordan Birch, a bunch of other guys. Like, I could literally go off and name all of them, like Tonka Hemingway, Mike Wyman, Rico Powers. Like, I could honestly go on and on, but for the sake of this video, I'm not going to. So back to my point. Yes, Will Muschamp did put up 25 classes, so you might say, well, no, that stat's irrelevant. Like, why does that matter that he put together a top 3 class? What did we do with those top 3 classes in those years? If you saw the coming years after he left, 2011, 2012, 2013, I don't know if you watched Gamecock football back then. I know that was when I started to get into it, and I can tell you it was a fun time. It was a really fun time as a Gamecocks fan. That's when we got these. That's when we started putting up these numbers right there. So the recruiting class that he did put in and everything actually executed on the field. So that's a point I want to make. Player development, that could have been Spurrier. That could have been whoever else was in that program. But player development and the guys that they did bring in did the work and got the work done to make us a successful program at that time. Just something I want to point out quickly there. Then he went to Virginia Tech and coached under his father, Frank Beamer, who's the head coach at Virginia Tech. Long time Virginia Tech Hokie great. He was the running back coach there. In 2013, Shane Beamer's squad of running backs did not allow a single fumble in the whole season. That is pretty impressive. He worked from 2011 to 2015. After that, he went to UGA where he coached tight ends and special teams. And he has had some natty and playoff experience. I just got to roll the sleeves up for this. I'm getting excited talking about all this great stuff that Shane Beamer has done. Special teams and tight end. Played in a natty, played in a playoff game and everything. Why does that tie in? I'm not saying that this is all him because obviously you have some freakish athletes over there in Georgia. But let's flash back to that what year would have that been? 2018 Rose Bowl. That honestly is one of the greatest football games I've ever watched. I don't know if you watched that. The double overtime win for Georgia against Oklahoma. Why did Georgia win that game? What happened in that second overtime that caused Georgia to win that game? It was a blocked field goal by Shane Beamer's special team squad. Now, like I said, Shane Beamer isn't out there in pads and a helmet and everything. He wasn't the one who went out there and blocked that kick. But that special teams unit had been playing really well all year, and that was one of the main reasons why Georgia was so good and able to make the playoffs and able to make the national championship. So just something to put in your mind there. He has that winning experience, and he knows how to get his guys to make plays in big moments. After that, he went to Oklahoma, where he's the tight ends and running backs coach for the Sooners, where now he leaves Oklahoma, comes to South Carolina, and his journey starts here in South Carolina. There are many reasons why I like this hire. Like I said, I was going to like any hire, but I especially like the Shane Beamer hire, and I'm going to go into some of those reasons why. Just going through that whole list that I read off to you of what he's done, where he's done it, and all that. Pretty big programs. Look at the positions he's done. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, outside linebackers, cornerbacks, special teams. He's been everywhere on the ball. Like, he's been on both sides of the ball. He's been on all three factors that you need in football. A lot of football experts will say games are won on special teams. You have, if you go up, like let's say, you're going to have a good offense, you're going to have a good defense. But what happens when you go up against a team that has both of those things? The game is going to be won on those kickoffs, on those punts, on those field goals, whatever, wherever you could steal a possession or gain some extra yards to get the ball in your offense's hands again, that's where games are won. So the fact that he has some real good experience on special teams, I really like that. And he has tons of experience in the backfield with quarterbacks, with wide receivers, and then also on defense working with cornerbacks and outside linebackers. All over the ball, he knows his stuff. Great there. And then another thing, he specializes in running backs. We saw that he's worked with the running backs at Virginia Tech. He's worked at them in Oklahoma. What has been the only bright spot for the Gamecocks this year? If you look at all that's happened this year, what would you say is the one takeaway from this season? And I bet you for 99.999% of you, for you that have been watching the games, that would be the running game in Kevin Harris. And you pair up Kevin Harris, the leading rusher in the SEC right now, with Shane Beamer, a running backs coach specialist. And then there's one guy that we're missing. Don't forget this guy. Because I'm telling you, this guy will go down as a great Gamecock running back. His name is Marshawn Lloyd. I don't know if you've heard of him. Yes, he got injured this year. Of course you've heard of him because he was one of the things that he was honestly what I look forward to the most this season for the Gamecocks was seeing Marshawn Lloyd. I'd heard the rumors in practice. I'd seen his highlight tapes and everything. The kid is an absolute freak of nature athlete. This guy's going to be special. When you pair those two up with Shane Beamer, I think that we got something really special coming up in the backfield in Columbia, South Carolina. Something good and fun is going to happen there. So I like the positions and everything. He's already been at South Carolina. He knows the whole recruiting grounds and everything. He's been the recruiting coordinator for us. Yes, that was like 10 years ago, but he knows this, like he's been here before. He knows what it's like to play in this. I'll bring the Riley towel back up. He knows what it's like to play in this program under this guy. He's been there. He's been with a successful program in South Carolina. So he's been here before. He's recruited here before. He's been in the program. He's been in the program in the best time. And I think that is very important because you see the culture. You see all the players on the Gamecocks in that 2013, 2012, 2011, whatever team you want to call it, 2010 team come out and talk about how good that locker room culture was and the mentality. Their expectation was not, oh, let's just go make some bowl game or whatever. Their expectation was, let's go win the SEC East. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. Let's go make this good bowl game. Let's go make a shot at the national championship this year. Let's go make Atlanta. It was all that stuff. Like, I love listening to guys like Tori Gurley, DJ Swearinger, guys like that, who were the real, like, vocal leaders of that team, talk about their expectations and how they carried themselves through that season, those seasons and everything. Love hearing from them. So he's been in that scenario. He's been in that time of Gamecock football where things were starting to get better. It wasn't at that. He wasn't here in 2012, 2013, those really high points, but he started that. He recruited them, and he got there. He was in 2010 where we beat Alabama, so he's been there before. That's my point. Another point. A lot of people aren't going to like this hire because he has no head coaching experience. I could care less. I honestly could care less that he has no head coaching experience. Like, it honestly doesn't mean anything to me. You could be a head coach anywhere. It doesn't mean that you're going to come into this program any more than another guy is and going to win games. a guy like, I hate to use this example, but a guy like Dabo Swinney, I'm pretty sure he'd never been a head coach before he got the job at Clemson. And what's happened there? 2 natties, made the playoffs like the last 5 or 4 years in a row. Absolutely smacked their in-state rival South Carolina for the last 6 or 7 years. Might want to forget that one, but Shane Beamer's coming in, and he is going to run up that record on Clemson. I'm telling you, we're going to go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever the number is, straight against Clemson. Just have hope in it. Just have hope in Shane Beamer. My point there was, you don't need head coaching experience. I want to take it to the whole Nick Saban thing, because I think that was the big thing with the Muschamp era, and why we hired him was we were just going after the guy under Nick Saban. I want to bring something up to you. Now, I said it before, I didn't really start watching college football till 2013. Even then, I was really young. I've had to do some research myself on what it's looked like through the years, how it's progressed and everything. And I take you back to a game, I forget what year it was, but it was the year that Alabama and LSU met up in the regular season as the 1 and 2 team. This is just an example. Do you want to know the final score of that game? It was 9-6 for LSU. The game was won on only field goals. Where in college football, where in the SEC do you see 9-6 games? Do you see Alabama only putting up 6 points in a game? No, not once this season. Have you even seen Alabama put up less than 20 this season? No, you haven't, because Mac Jones, Jalen Waddle, Najee Harris, Devontae Smith, John Mechie, all those guys, they're an offensive powerhouse. Those guys that coached under Saban at that time, the guys that, let's say, the Will Muschamps, all those guys that we were going after at that point, just because they had been under Nick Saban, they coached under Saban in a completely different era of football than what we are in now. Completely different. That was all defensive based. We are in an offensive era of football. And if the last couple of years haven't showed it with the Heismans, with the type of quarterbacks that we're having, go out into the draft with the kind of numbers that we're putting up, I don't know what college football you've been watching, because this game is all offense now. So my point to that Nick Saban thing was, this is a compliment to Nick Saban, because he has been able to be great still, because he has adapted to all of those different kinds of eras of college football, the way that it's progressed, the way that it's shifted from a defensive league to an offensive league. He's shifted through all that. I can't say guys like Will Muschamp, even though he was under Nick Saban, you're not going to get Nick Saban unless you get Nick Saban. Bottom line, you are not going to have Nick Saban on the South Carolina Gamecocks unless we see Nick Saban himself wearing the garnet and black on the sideline with a visor or whatever he wants to wear in khakis on the sideline. That's the only way that you're ever going to have Nick Saban in this program. No two guys are going to be alike. You're not going to have another Nick Saban. It's just not going to happen. He is, in my opinion, the greatest coach of all time in college football. There's the Bear Bryant argument. Obviously, that was way before my time, so I obviously can't have any valid opinion on that. But from what I've seen from Nick Saban since I've been alive, greatest coach in probably, I can't say football, Bill Belichick, even though I don't like the old Tom Brady era. Bill Belichick's the greatest football coach ever, probably. But Nick Saban, you're not going to get another one of him. So I don't care that he hasn't been a head coach. I don't care that he hasn't been under Nick Saban. Give the guy a shot. Like, he's a younger guy. Obviously, he's not like super young, but like, I really like where Shane Beamer's at. Like, I really like that he's been in the program. I don't care that he hasn't been a head coach before. I think I actually kind of like that, because you're getting a guy who has a chance to prove himself to the big boys that he is here. It's his first time being a head coach. It's going to be exciting. It's not like you just got let go of another job and you have to go find another head coaching job. He took this. He's the guy. This is his first chance to prove himself. And another thing, these are going to be the keys to what is going to make Shane Beamer successful in Carolina, in Columbia, South Carolina. These things. I've heard this many, many times on many different platforms. The Late Kick with Josh Pate, Spurs Up Show, my buddy Chris talks about this a lot. This has to be Shane Beamer's dream job if we really want to go into an elite program. And what they mean by dream job is there's nowhere else you'd rather be than Columbia, South Carolina. There's nowhere else you'd rather win than Columbia, South Carolina. There's nowhere else that you'd rather be a legend than Columbia, South Carolina. He's been here before. I've said that all. But one thing that I really like about that, and I think that will make this a dream job for him, The fact that you have a chance to do something, you have a chance to do so many things that have never been done before in Carolina football history. Take Alabama, for example. What do they got? 17 natties. They've made the SEC championship like every year, every other year, have many SEC West titles. If you go in at Alabama and you're the coach and you win a national championship or two, great. They're going to remember you. You're going to be just another Alabama coach that won a national championship. You're not going to be Nick Saban or Bear Bryant, even if you're a player. Like, I'd give the same speech to recruits. If you're a player and you go to Alabama, you play, you win a natty, good for you. You're going to have the ring, but will people really remember you when you come back? Will people really be like overjoyed? And like, I know that you'll still be big news and everything, but it's not the same as if you come to Columbia, South Carolina, a place that has never won a national championship, a place that has never made a playoff game, even though many teams haven't, a place that has never won the SEC before, a place that has only been to Atlanta once before. I got the news paperclip article right there of Tori Gurley, SEC East Champs, the state newspaper article. We haven't seen that since 2010. The best rating we've ever had is 4 from the AP back in 2013. There's lots of firsts to be done here. And what you can do if you're Shane Beamer, you have a chance to go down in Carolina history. I'm telling you, it's exciting. You have a chance to do something that has never been done before and go down as the greatest of all time in South Carolina athletics history. If we win a football natty, I guarantee you nothing, I repeat, nothing will ever top it if you are able to give these fans, the most passionate fan base in all of sports, a national championship. Nothing will top it in South Carolina ever. I guarantee you that. And you could be that guy. You could be that guy who could be eating, living, drinking, whatever you want to do free in Columbia and probably the whole state for the rest of your life. I'm excited myself. I want to go coach for South Carolina. I want to go play for South Carolina now because you have that opportunity to do something great and to be the first to ever do it and to be the greatest to ever do it. Because I'm telling you, when that first time happens, it's going to be something special. It's going to be something memorable. It's going to be something that so many people in the state have been waiting so long for. And it's just going to be memorable. Like, it's going to be so amazing. That's something that I think will make this a dream job for Shane Beamer. The fact that you have a chance to do something amazing, like simply amazing for South Carolina. I get excited. Honestly, something that makes me really sad about being a sports fan and like watching the Gamecocks games this year, I know with COVID, but even in previous years, like 2018, 2019, 2017, when they pan over Williams-Brice before the games, especially the CBS games, and I see gray metal benches, gray steel benches all over the top deck or whatever, that makes me sad because it's just like no one cares enough to go to the games. No one is willing to spend their time and money and everything, their energy to come to these games because there's no point. We're just not good anymore. Like, that makes me sad when I see so many empty seats. It hits me personally. I want Shane Beamer to come in here and make Williams-Brice Stadium somewhere where fans have to be on Saturdays. This is going to be somewhere where fans don't want to be on Saturdays. They need to be here because if they're not there, they're going to be missing one of the most memorable experiences of their whole life. We all know what Williams-Brice is like when it's really rocking. It's unbelievable. It's an amazing experience. I want to bring that back. I want to make it even better than it was before. I want to become the loudest stadium in all of college football. We got the best fans in the nation, no question about it. I want to pack out Williams-Brice Stadium every single game, 80,000 plus, even stretch it to 85,000. Get some standing room seats. Just pack the seats. Let people in. Let people stand all over the spiral ramp or whatever. Let's just pack Williams-Brice. Let's get someone who wants to pack Williams-Brice. Let's get someone who's going to bring that excitement back to that stadium. It just makes me excited thinking that if we have a whole fan base, a whole student body and everything like that, like, I want student tickets to be insanely hard to get. Like, I want it to be like a lottery system because everyone wants to be there on Saturday night when we're taking on, let's say, Clemson or Georgia or even like Vanderbilt. If you have the chance to go see, like if I had the chance to go see LSU play Vanderbilt last season, I would have 100% because you get to see guys like Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Patrick Queen, Caleb Von Chason, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Thaddeus Moss, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on and on. If we're able to field a team like that, that is going to make those games, even against like FCS teams, so much more fun to be at. And just something really special is going to happen in Columbia. I feel like all these things can happen with Shane Beamer if we just believe Gamecock fans, if we just trust the process. Now, next season, I do think that we can win a bowl game, but don't expect anything too out of the water yet. Like, we're not getting ahead of ourselves. We're not saying that we're going to go make an Natty. We're not saying that we're going to go win the SEC East next year. Although it could happen, probability is no. We have to trust the process. It's going to be a wait because we know what happened with the 2021 recruiting class. A bunch of people dropped. It's tough. It really is tough. But we just got to stay in there. Believe. Shane Beamer's our guy. We got to stick behind him. Go get your Beamer 2021. Make Carolina great. Sure, it's because he is going to make Carolina football great again. I promise you that. I promise you that. Just believe. Thank you so much for watching this, Gamecock fans. Go Gamecocks as always. Spurs up. Let's crank the rally towels out. I hope you're listening to Sandstorm all day or night long. Thank you for watching and come back next time.